Thank you. So I'm going to move on to introduce Linda O'Sullivan, and she's a corporate responsibility consultant with Business in the Community in Ireland, where she gives advice and guidance on all aspects of the sort of sustainable business practice, including environmental impacts, strategic community involvement, and so on. Prior to that, she enjoyed a career in IT over, it says, over a decade's experience in the UK and in Ireland. And she's also ran her own consulting business for 6 years. So now, with Business in the Community in Ireland, she's going to outline to us. She has a very impressive slide with a number of partners in it, which will be household names. And she's going to really talk about the social responsibility element of that. Thank you, Linda.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I thought I was going last, so I'm delighted to have been promoted in the schedule. Just to say, very happy to be here, and thank you to the Forum for the invite. So I'm very conscious you've all been listening for quite a while, and you have still got quite a bit of listening to do. So my plan is to keep this light and certainly within time. I thought I'd start. I know we have a lot of overseas people here, but there is an old Irish proverb, and it goes, "Ar sca a céile a bhur na daoine." And the literal translation of that is that we live in each other's shadows. But I suppose the sentiment of it is that we all rely on each other, and we are interdependent. And I suppose I really like that as a philosophy for life. And as I was thinking about preparing for today's presentation, I thought it had particular resonance. So, Mac has said, I work with Business in the Community Ireland. I know many of you won't be familiar with us, but we are a non-profit, a registered charity. Our vision is to have Ireland as the most responsible place to do business. And I suppose we certainly consider ourselves the network in Ireland for responsible and sustainable practices. And this is the slide, no doubt you were referring to, but we draw our membership from some of the largest companies that are operating within Ireland. So as you can see there, a lot of them would be very familiar names to you, including Accenture and Janssen on the panel. So our raison d'etre is to promote corporate social responsibility, or CSR. And Carmel stole my line in asking you what CSR meant to you, because invariably if we were to go around the room and ask what your take on CSR was, we would get quite a few answers. So just in terms of contextualising where we're coming from, we use this broad EU definition, and it's about the responsibility that enterprises have for their impacts on society. And really, we would firmly believe that enterprises should have processes in place that integrate human rights, consumer concerns, environmental, ethical and social issues. And they integrate them into their business operations, but like as part of their core strategy, not just an add-on to day-to-day business. And they do so in very close cooperation with their stakeholders. So with that in mind, and taking CSR as a starting point for business in the community, it is probably safe to assume that we are a fan of collaborative initiatives, and indeed we are. But I guess a question that should be posed is it really reasonable to expect that companies enter into collaborative initiatives that are not directly linked to their products and services that they're selling, not directly linked to the bottom line? And I know that's a question again that you posed on the report that I had a look at. It's quite interesting in that. I'm glad to see we are seeing an evolution from CSR as very philanthropic activity into much more strategic, and certainly that's the direction that we would like to go. So as I said, we're keen on partnerships, just looking across that network of companies and picking out a few examples. You can see some of them that are health related there. We have some great examples within our network. So things like O2 and their partnership with Headstrong on youth mental health. Indeed, Janssen, I know you talked about a global one, but a very local one down in Cork called Message in a Bottle with the Lions Club. Boots, a programme with Irish Cancer Society, or MSD, have a really nice initiative with NALA around health literacy. So there are lots of examples, and I know you've seen quite a few examples today, so I'm not going to delve into any of them in any great detail. I've just two that I'd like to touch on. The first one is a collaboration primarily between Pfizer, another big pharma, and the Irish Times, and it's called Healthy Town. It's actually, they run a programme of events all around making healthy choices and encouraging people to change behaviour. It's in its third year now, and it has just completed, the programme of events actually has just completed in Portlaoise, which is 2014's Healthy Town. But it's interesting again to see the range of partners, I suppose, in this collaboration, from NGOs like the Irish Heart Foundation and Cushla Cancer Support, to Laois County Council, the local sports partnership. And this year, which is the third year of the project running, they got endorsement from Healthy Ireland, which of course is the HSE initiative. So a combination of kind of the local government, NGO, the media and the corporates involved in that initiative. The second example that I thought I might just refer to, and it's not directly related to health, it's an initiative called Social Computing. It's around tackling social inclusion for older people and getting them kind of digital savvy, and a lot of them maybe a fear of technologies, but find themselves with maybe grandchildren abroad and that and whatever, and so getting onto the internet or email, and that can be a very empowering, inclusive tool for them. What I like about this project, and I was interested outside before coming into the session, one of the question and answer boards had, how do you attract support for the non-sexy type projects? And within Business and Community, we'd be very familiar with the companies that want to get on board with the children's charities. You know, there's lots of very nice to do programs. What I like about this initiative is that IBM initiated it, and Business and the Community worked very closely to bring together key stakeholders. One of them, who, if you can see on the slide there, is actually the Irish Prison Service. So essentially, businesses donate computers. Camara strip them down and make them safe for reuse. Within the prison service then, people serving time within the prisons refurbish and build the computers back up. In so doing, they're getting the computers ready to be redistributed out through some of the age-related charities out into nursing homes and day centres for people to use, and then business volunteers come back in and train. The added benefit for the people in the prisons is that they're getting a FETAC qualification. So within this, everybody is gaining something, and that's a really important piece to take out of a collaborative initiative. There has to be something in it for all of the partners. So they were just two of the examples that I wanted to introduce. What I thought might be interesting, and not to dwell on it in any great detail, and this is by no means a definitive list, but within Business and the Community, I suppose we would see ourselves very often as a conduit for businesses and other types of enterprises to get together and maybe try and tackle some kind of a social need. And some of the things or the questions or considerations I think that are important for people who are thinking, or enterprises that are thinking of collaborating on particular issues, are around the need. So will the collaboration meet a clearly identified social need? And speaking purely from the experience of Business in the Community, very often a company will get an idea that they want to do something on a particular issue, and they may approach a charity or an NGO. The NGO, who's strapped for cash and tight resources and that, may jump at the chance to work with the company, but actually the initiative is not going to help them achieve their real need, and can often be a poor use of resources. So it's really important to think about that. What is the need, and what will this partnership address? Look at all the key stakeholders and see, are they all represented, and bring them on board. And again, this comes to the CSR and moving it on a step. Are any of your competitors, and I mean that in both the public and the private sense, are any of your competitors key stakeholders in this? Will the social issue be addressed more thoroughly if they're involved? Because that's really something to think about. And again, people can be very territorial about their project and their particular remit. So it's something that I would certainly advocate, and obviously using strengths. And again, a key one then is around a common vision. People clearly know where they're going. People should have they can have different aspirations in that they can want different things, but once they're achieved through this common vision, I think that's great. And once all partners are happy that they understand what the others are getting out of it, and are happy with that. And then the shared value piece, as I say, just to reiterate again, everybody should be gaining something from it. So it's simply then, what's next? Well, I've worked in business in the community for the last 10 years. I'm delighted to say that I have seen an evolution in CSR, and it has moved on from, it would very much have been synonymous with community involvement, people out shaking a bucket, donating a few pounds, maybe doing some ad hoc volunteering, going out and painting a school wall and having a great day out, but back to the day job then, and have they really moved anything along? We're seeing more and more strategic projects, more and more projects that we're encouraging that meet the business objectives, touch the bottom line, and therefore are sustainable. And as I say, I'd like to see, I suppose, for the next step change, some more collaboration with competitors. So I know I'm out of time, so I'll leave it very much at that. I'm happy to answer questions later on. Thanks, Mel.